Hi, and welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast in association with CarWow, the online car-changing destination. Together, we share tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your department, dealership, or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett, or some of you might already know me as Skippy. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Selling in the Motor Trade. Today, I want to talk about the objections that your service advisors are getting when they try and upsell in the service department. Okay, I'm just going to focus on 5 from our today's service advisor sales training program. Okay, and if you want more information, feel free to reach out. We've got an online training program there, or we come in and work with service advisors. We haven't got time to go through the whole process now. Yes, we've got to do the vehicle health check. We've got to set the agenda. We've got to show people what it is, tell people the call's going to come through. There's so much stuff we can talk about there, but let's just focus on the objections. I'm just going to give you 5 techniques that should help your service advisor. This is when someone says, no, I'll leave it. I don't want to do that. The first technique is cost or time frame. So let's take the tyres, for example. Okay, we put the call in. Hello, Mr. Customer. This is Simon calling regarding the complimentary health check we said we'd do on your car. Now, David, the technician, when he was servicing the car, he inspected the front 2 tyres. And a tyre's got 8 millimeters when it's brand new. You've worn it all the way down that you've only got 1.4 millimeters until that tyre is illegal. Now, to put that in perspective, that 1.4 millimeters is the thickness of a credit card. I've taken the liberty of getting a quote from you from QuickFit for the same tire that Toyota recommend, the Continental, the Dunlop, the blah, blah, blah. Fitted, balanced, and disposing of your old tire, they're 149 euros a tire. Now, we could do that as part of your service today. We're €4 a tire dearer, but the good news, Dave can do that as part of the service. And it's not going to affect the pickup time of 4:30 this afternoon. Do you understand why Dave recommends getting that tire changed? And customer says, no, I'll leave it. All too often, we hear people say, okay, at least I've offered. Okay, but selling often starts when the customer says no. So first technique might be cost or time frame. Well, Mr. Customer, it's just only having the thickness of a credit card till that tire's illegal. Not only doubling your braking distance on a wet road, okay? In fact, on a dry road, it's actually 10 double-decker buses extra stopping distance. Can I ask you, is it the cost of that tire or the time frame to get it fitted you're not sure about? It's often cost, isn't it? Then you've got some options to go. Well, please bear in mind that's the same tire that Audi recommended. But on this occasion, why don't I get a lower cost alternative for you? Well, actually, we've got the Michelin is going to be £189, or we can actually put the Hankook, the Arrow on for £145. Hey, which one makes more sense? The Hankook, £145, or the Michelin, the same tire that Audi recommended at £189? So cost or time frame might be one technique you might want to have a look at. That's number one. Second one is, I think what you're really asking me. So let's just take, brake fluid. Okay, so I'm telling people the brake fluid needs to be changed and the reasons why. It's hygroscopic, it absorbs water from the inserts put in the system. That's exacerbated when we live in a wet country, which the UK is actually quite damp lots of the times there. You might talk about it's like having a cordial as a kid, all those good things that we talk about on the training course. But people say, no, I'll leave it. Okay. I think what you really asked me, Mr. Customer, are your brakes going to be okay until this time next year when you service the car again? I wouldn't want to put my name to it. I don't know how much moisture is in the system at the moment. I'm concerned that moisture causes corrosions to the calipers, the wheel cylinders. I'd hate to think in 12 months' time, I'm asking for a lot more money for work to the calipers as opposed to £89 to get the brake fluid changed this time. Is it worth spending a little bit more now as opposed to potentially a lot more later? So number 2 technique you might want to try is, I think what you really asked me. I think what you really asked me, is it going to be okay until this time next year when you service the car? That's number 2. We know the service advisor's got one of the hardest jobs in any modern car dealership. When people say, no, I'll leave it, do your service advisors have the tools in the toolbox to deal with that objection? When they're talking about tyre sales, when they're talking about air conditioning servicing, brakes, brake fluids, do they have the knowledge to be able to come across with confidence why the customer needs to get this work done? Do they understand how to get across to the customer what your technicians do that the independents can't do? Hey, listen, if that sounds like what you need for your service advisors, come and speak to us at Simco Training about today's service advisor. I think it'll really help you. Number three, you might want to try is a lot of my customers said that. A lot of my customers said that. It's great because it lets people know they're not alone. Okay. Let's take servicing the air conditioning. Oh, we're coming into winter. We hardly ever use it at all. So I won't get the air conditioning serviced. Okay. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, a lot of my customers said they're not going to get the air conditioning service because we're coming into winter, until they found out it's the inactivity was causing the issues, not the activity. It's like your boiler at home. People often don't get issues with their boiler in the middle of winter when it's been used all the time. It's at the start of winter where it's been dormant. Same as your air conditioning system when it's not being used. If the seals dry up in it, the gas will leak out. And it's the gas that carries oil to lubricate the compressor. And the compressor is the most expensive part of the air conditioning system. I'd hate to think in 12 months' time, we're asking for a lot of money to replace a compressor as opposed to a lot less money just to service the air conditioning. Isn't it worth spending a little bit now as opposed to potentially a lot more later? Okay, that's number three. Okay, a lot of my customers said that. Number four is the oldest one in the book. Comes from a man called Tom Hopkins, and it was feel, felt, found. Okay, so a customer turns around and says, hey, listen, I'll leave that timing belt. Actually, they're a bit of a rarity belts nowadays, aren't they? Everything seems to be going chains. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm thinking some of them now. But anyway, no, I'll leave that belt. Okay, because I understand exactly how you feel. I had a customer here, Mrs. Casey, felt the same as you because she was looking at selling the car anyway. She thought, why bother doing it? But she actually found out when the belt snapped, the valves went right through the piston. Okay. And actually, there was nothing stopping the valves hitting the piston, and the engine was written off. And of course, no insurance company was going to cover that. Isn't it worth spending a little bit now to sell the car with a timing belt that's been replaced, as opposed to potentially having to put an engine in it? Feel, felt, found. Comes from Tom Hopkins, okay? And it's just getting on. It's quite an empathetic one as well. Here's the last one, okay? It's told this from a man called Dave Peel, friend of the show, been interviewed on the show. Hope you're well, Mr. Peel. And this one is, promise me. If you get any upsell and a customer doesn't want to do it, you might finish it with, well, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, would you do me a favor? Even if we don't do the tire, would you promise me you get that tire changed between now and the end of the month? Just with that, the thickness of a credit card till that tire is illegal, I'd hate to think you get pulled up by the police because the government's changed the maximum fine to £2,500 per tire and 3 points in your license. Would you promise me you get it changed? You see, promise me takes it right out of a sales pitch into something that's personal. Okay. Listen, would you do me a favor? Now, I wouldn't just leave it there. Yeah, great. Okay, I'll go and use Black Circles. I'll go and use Quick Fit. But then you might say, but having said that, on this occasion, why don't I look at putting the Hankook on it as opposed to the Michelin at X amount as opposed to Y amount? That makes sense, doesn't it? Guys, try some of those. Short one for you today. 5 objection handling techniques. Is it the cost or the time frame? Okay. Or I think what you're really asking me. Number 2. Number 3, a lot of my customers said that. Number 4, feel, felt, found. And the last one is, hey, listen, would you do me a favor? Even if we don't do it, would you promise me you get XYZ fixed? I just hate to think in 12 months' time, I'm asking for a lot more money to replace the blah, blah, blah. the flux capacitor, or whatever it is. Guys, try some of those, make them your own. But also, when people say no, don't just say, okay. Our job as a service advisor is to advise why it's important to get that work done to the car. If you want more ideas and help on that, come and talk to us about our today's service advisor training program, and we'll get your service advisors up to speed of using these techniques and others very effectively in your business. I'll speak to you next time. That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn.